In 2021, Gujarat was ranked the best performer in developing a strong startup ecosystem alongside Karnataka and Meghalaya. This incredible state is providing holistic and comprehensive institutional support to startups. They've launched Her Start, a program that's growing the number of women entrepreneurs in the state, and they even created the Gujarat State Biotechnology Technology Mission Fund, specifically to offer financial assistance to biotech startups. Of Gujarat's nearly 16,000 startups, more than 6,000 are from Ahmedabad, the most populous city in the state, and the home of some of India's most innovative and disruptive companies, some of which you may have heard of, but didn't even realize were based in Ahmedabad. And so in this video, we're going to be taking a look at 10 of those startups coming up right after this. All right, two things to note here before we jump in. First of all of the companies I'll be talking about in this video are startups. So if you want our definition for what a startup actually is, then you can pause the video right now. And two, this list isn't really organized in any particular order. We just put things in a way that we thought would be most interesting. So keep both of those things in mind. All right, with that out of the way, let's start things off at number 10 with Theka Coffee. So Theka Coffee was founded by Bhupinder Madaan in September of 2017. And Bhupinder's a coffee enthusiast, but he also understands how quickly coffee from chains like, for example, Starbucks or Third Wave can drain a person's wallet. And so he thought to himself, is there a way for me to get people incredible coffee at an affordable price? Well, that's the idea that kickstarted Theka Coffee, a new gen chain of cafes that serves 100% arabica coffee starting at just 100 rupees. The company recently raised $300,000 from Dubai-based VC firm Zenith Multi Trading and also got a lot of publicity on season 1 of Shark Tank India. Ever since that episode aired, the startup has been recording average sales worth 15,000 rupees from every outlet every day. And these outlets have been built across Gujarat and the rest of India using a franchising model. Now, the estimated valuation of Theka at the time of their Shark Tank India episode was 5 crore rupees, but with the growth that they've seen since, it's very likely that the startup is worth quite a bit more than that now. Next up at number 9, we have GamerJi Esports. As of 2022, India's esports market was worth $2.6 billion. And to capture this market, the co-founders of the company founded GamerJi in 2018. And on this platform, users can play games together, host matches, and also win prizes. And GamerJi's business model takes a two-pronged approach here. Firstly, they charge an entry fee for gamers to compete in their esports tournaments, and a percentage of that cumulative fee is distributed as a prize pool for the tournament's winners, while GamerJi keeps the rest. And then secondly, like any sporting event, companies can sponsor tournaments for brand recognition. Today, GamerJi has more than 30 lakh gamers on its platform with an average league joining fee of just 25 rupees per entry. And this makes GamerJi one of the largest paid tournament platforms in India and is valued at over $5 million. So far, the company has raised a total of $1.7 million from 6 investors across 4 funding rounds. Coming in at number 8 now, we have edtech startup Saarthi Pedagogy. Saarthi was founded in 2018 and is India's fastest growing pedagogy company. And if you don't know what that word means, don't worry, you're not alone, and I'll explain it to you. In a nutshell, pedagogy is the art, science, or profession of teaching. And believe it or not, a lot of schools actually struggle to teach kids effectively because there's so many components to it. Teacher training, administration, and things like admissions, attendance, student transport, exams, payroll. You've got the education itself, lessons, textbooks, and workbooks, classroom assignments, and homework. I mean, there are so many things that go into teaching that it can be overwhelming for a school. And so what Saarthi Pedagogy is selling is a platform that simplifies and automates all of that with the help of AI to customize their offerings to fit the needs of each new customer. But this isn't just an idea, it actually works. Saarthi has been able to increase teacher productivity by 60%. They've also increased school revenues by a significant amount with this model, and of course, also providing better learning outcomes for kids. The startup has a presence in more than 36 cities in 7 states and is continuing to expand, and they've also raised a total of $2 million from 4 investors. Moving on to number 7 now, we have male hygiene startup Nuutjob. So you might remember this startup from a skit performed by sister duo Ananya and Anushri Malu on Shark Tank India. These two founders identified a gap in India's intimate hygiene space, and a pretty big one at that. They noticed that while the Indian intimate hygiene segment was pretty saturated with products for women like V-Wash, P-Safe, Sunfe, Plush, and Sirona, the options for men were much harder to find, and also not as good. What's more, a lot of men, not just in India but around the world, don't even realize how important intimate hygiene is. And so Nuutjob has two jobs to do. One, they need to make the best possible products for men, but two, they need to educate men about the importance of using these products. And the sharks on Shark Tank India felt pretty confident that they would be able to accomplish both of these goals, which is why the company walked away from that episode with 25 lakh rupees for a quarter of the company at a 1 crore rupee valuation. Next up at number 6, we have agri-commerce startup Superzop. Started in 2016 with the goal of directly connecting farmers with kiranas, Superzop is a B2B e-commerce platform that enables small merchants to directly source things like rice, wheat, and pulses. You can think of it kind of like an Amazon, but for kiranas instead of everyday people, and with a focus on food staples. And just like Amazon with Amazon Basics, Superzop also has their own private label brand, Super Choice. So far, the startup has onboarded more than 20,000 retailers across 13 states, and they've also raised a total of $5.2 million from 4 investors. Moving on to number 5 now, we have AI-powered clean tech startup Prescinto. So when it comes to renewable energy, there are a lot of ways for companies to optimize their process of generating and distributing this energy. And if they don't optimize, they actually miss out on potential revenue. So Prescinto's goal is to help renewable energy companies to maximize their output and their returns, using AI to monitor, analyze, and operate clean energy plants. The startup was founded in 2016 and has worked on more than 300 projects across 14 countries. And to continue expanding their reach as a company, Prescinto has raised a total of $19.7 million collectively from 8 investors. Coming to number 4 now, we have intra-campus mobility startup Booz. So the problem that Booz is trying to solve here is the commute between 2 locations in largely confined places like big universities, office campuses, or even tourist destinations. The company was founded in 2017 and they started operations officially in 2019. And during those first few months, Booz actually gave away free rides to customers as a sort of stress test to understand what the initial problems were with their service and also to refine the customer experience. Today, Booz rents out kick scooters and e-bikes, and customers can either ride these two-wheelers for short trips, or they can rent them out for the day using the Booz app. And what's interesting here is that while QR code payments are accepted, Booz scooters can also be rented out using tap to pay as well, with their own proprietary cards. And in its first 10 months of operations, the company brought in 4 lakh rupees in revenue, which was enough to get Shark Tank India sharks Vinita Singh and Ashnir Grover to invest 40 lakh rupees for 50% of the company, which is the startup's first and only investment to date. Next up at number 3, we have edtech startup LearnVern. So the name LearnVern is a combination of learn and vernacular, and the idea here is to teach students in their mother tongue. Vernacular edtech certainly isn't the lowest hanging fruit, it's actually a pretty difficult and deep problem to solve, but it also has a lot of potential. So LearnVern offers courses in AngularJS, Android, Core Java, Advanced Java, PHP, Selenium, and more in both offline and online classes. And the startup is also in active discussion to tie up with colleges and universities to offer a training and placement program for college students. Over 2 million students have enrolled in the more than 150 courses that are available on their platform, and LearnVern has also raised a total of $1 million from unknown investors in April of 2021. Moving on to number 2 now, we have co-working startup DevX. Founded in 2017, what sets DevX apart from other co-working spaces is their involvement in their tenants' startup journey. Beyond physical space, they provide business assistance, strategic partnerships, and investing via the DevX Venture Fund, which writes checks of between $50,000 and $250,000. They've already made at least 8 investments and have seen 2 exits, generating a 4x return in less than 24 months. What's more, they've been operationally profitable since December of 2018, which has enabled them to expand sustainably into a number of cities across India, including Mumbai, Hyderabad, Pune, Vadodara, and Rajkot. Now, in terms of funding, they raised their first round from a Gujarat-based investor in May of 2019. That was $1 million at a pre-money valuation of $6 million, and they're also planning to raise an additional $3.5 million in the not-too-distant future. And finally, coming in at number 1, we have D2C innerwear brand Bummer. So Bummer was founded in 2019 and is a direct-to-consumer underwear brand for both men and women. And they've managed to sell some pretty amazing underwear at very cheap prices. But what is the differentiator? What's so special about them? Well, they actually sell matching underwear for couples. That's what differentiates them from other brands, their approach and their creativity. The company sold 15,000 units in the financial year of 2021, and currently their average monthly sales are 15 lakh rupees, with a gross margin of roughly 70%. Valued at $1.2 million, the startup has raised a total of $284,000 from 3 investors, with their latest round being raised from Aman Gupta and Namita Thapar on Shark Tank India Season 1. So, Ahmedabad is on the rise, and the city's startups are generating billions of dollars in revenue, but they're not the only city in Western India that's having a massive impact on India's startup ecosystem. So check this video about the top 10 Pune startups out next, and I will see you in the next one.